Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast. We cover everything Major League, from spring training to the World Series. We've got your favorite club covered, from New York to Boston to LA. This is the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast.
What is up? Welcome into the GSMC Baseball Podcast. It is a Wednesday, as we are going to go over your baseball news from early in the week. We'll be recapping the games from Monday and Tuesday, going over some news and just the stories going around Major League Baseball, talking about some races in the NL East, talk about the Red Sox as they are trying to fend off the Yankees. I mean, it can probably be like that the whole rest of the season. Honestly, those two teams are going to run away with the NL or AL East. Probably the second place team will secure a wild card spot. But honestly, these days with that one game wild card, you want to win your division. It puts the premium on winning your division that much more, because if you're a Yankees team or a Red Sox team, not only do you have to go play that one game playoff, likely start your ace. If you do win, now you go into that ALDS against the team with the best record, regardless, the number one seed in the American League, and then you have game one without your ace because you used your ace in that wildcard game. So you're kind of it's kind of hamstrings you a little bit. Obviously, you'll be happy to win that game, but anything with the sudden death one game playoff, it's can be kind of shaky. So that AL East race is going to be a fun one to watch. The rest of the way, right now, the Red Sox do hold a half game lead after Tuesday. All right. Let's go over the scores from Monday really quickly. It was a shorter slate, as it is always on Mondays and Thursdays, as a few teams were taking days off. There's only 9 games, as we'll do that really quickly. In Philadelphia, it was a shutout performance for the Phillies. Nick Pivetta pitched very nicely there at home at Citizens Bank. He went 7 shutout innings, allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts for Pivetta. A nice performance there. His 4th win on the year. For the Phillies, it was they got some run. They only scored 3 runs, but they got a couple homers. It was Aaron Altier hit his 5th. It was a 2-run shot, and Nick Williams hit his 3rd, a solo shot, and that was all the runs for that game. In Washington, the Nationals blow out the Padres 10-2 behind a nice pitching performance from Gio Gonzalez. He went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, did give up a home run that was to Reyes, a 2-run homer, and that was the only runs that the Padres would muster in that game. For the Nationals, on the offensive side, they got home runs from the same team, first guy ever. Last guy to hit a home run and as a teenager was Bryce Harper, and now it's the young left fielder for the Nationals, Juan Soto. He's also 19, and he hit his first Major League home run on Monday. It was a 3-run shot off of Erlin, so that was pretty much all of the Nationals needed. They also got homers from Mark Reynolds, 2 of them from Mark Reynolds, and then also Bryce Harper hit his 14th in the 5th inning. The Mets blank the Miami Marlins 2-0. Behind a excellent pitching performance from Jason Vargas and the bullpen. Vargas only went 5 innings, allowed no runs on 2 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. The bullpen was excellent as they completed the shutout there for New York. In Milwaukee, the Brewers beat the Diamondbacks 4-2. Chase Anderson against his former team was excellent. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, did give a homer to Jake Lamb, now coming off the DL. Jake Lamb is healthy. He beats Zach Greinke. Greinke only allowed 4 runs over 6 innings of work, 3 home runs given up by Greinke. Travis Shaw, Domingo Santana, and Lorenzo Cain all went deep off of Greinke in that one. The Yankees beat the Rangers 10-5 in Arlington. It was a offensive barrage as Gleyber Torres has his first two-homer game in his career. He goes deep twice off of Bartolo Colon. Neil Walker also hit his first homer of the year. Judge hit his 12th, and Aaron Hicks hit his 5th as the Yankees played home run derby there in Arlington. The Rangers actually also got a few homers. Joey Gallo hit his 14th, Odor his first after coming off of the DL, and Guzman his 3rd there in the 7th inning in the loss. The Orioles beat the White Sox 3-2 in Chicago. It was a Hector Santiago start. He unfortunately gets the loss. Andrew Cashner gets the win for Baltimore, his 2nd on the year. He went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs on 8 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts for Cashner in this one. Santiago got dinged up with the home run ball, just like we saw over in Texas and in Milwaukee as well. A bunch of home runs. Manny Machado hit his 15th of the year to keep pace with the top of the leaders in the top of the league with the home run race there. Mark Trumbo hit his 2nd, and Adam Jones hit his 8th of the year. In Minnesota, the Twins beat the Tigers 4-2. It was a Jose Berrios start, and he went 8 innings, allowed 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. So really the only blemish was a Nick Castellanos homer in the 1st inning, his 5th of the year. And he gets the win there, his 5th of the season. No homers for the Twins, surprisingly. The Cardinals, they shut out their in-state rivals, the Royals, in this interleague affair here. Miles Mikolas went 9 shutout innings, a shutout complete game for Mikolas. 4 hits on 1 walk, 9 strikeouts for Mikolas, as he is now a perfect 6-0, has been pretty much become the ace now of that Cardinals rotation, especially with Martinez on the shelf as well as Wainwright. Mikolas, still pitching really nicely. For the as far as offense for the Cardinals, Carpenter hit his 4th, and O'Neill hit his 3rd in this one as they get the shutout win. And then the Rockies beat the Dodgers 2-1 at Dodger Stadium. Jermaine Marquez pitched nicely, went 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 2 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. That 1 run was a homer by Max Muncy, his 5th. Walker Buehler also pitched pretty well for the Dodgers. Got a no decision as this one was decided late. He went 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 2 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, 1 homer. That was a Gerardo Parra solo homer in the 5th. And so the Rockies actually got a run late in this one. It was a Carlos Gonzalez single in the top of the 8th inning to give them the lead, and they would end up winning that one the next inning. All right. To Tuesday, it was a full slate of games on a Tuesday. The Giants got beat up pretty bad in Houston, 11-2. The Astros get the win. Garrett Cole, his 5th of the year already. So he pitched very nicely for them down in Houston as he went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. The one blemish was the home run by his own brother-in-law. It was a little family affair down there in Houston. It was Brandon Crawford took Garrett Cole deep. Remember, I don't know if you know, but Brandon Crawford's sister is married to Garrett Cole. So his sister was in the stands there, and she was didn't really know what to do because her husband gave up a homer to her brother. So it was she kind of got caught in the middle there. But it was all about the Astros offense. Didn't get a ball out of the ballpark, but they had about 4 doubles in this one, and a bunch of 2-out RBIs as well. So they were able to keep the line moving in this one and beat up on the Giants bullpen as well after the starter was removed. Atlanta beats the Phillies 3-1. All 3 runs were scored by Ozzie Albies in this one as Brandon McCarthy pitched very nicely for the Braves. They went 5 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 4 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts for McCarthy. Velasquez was also pitched well. Didn't make it out of the 5th inning, though, due to some pitch count issues. But as he was already at 89 pitches through 4 1/3 inning, he allowed 1 earned run, 2 total on 6 hits, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. Did give up a homer to Albies himself. So, like I said, Albies was the only guy who crossed the plate in this one for the Braves. But that's all that mattered. He scored 3 times, and that's what they needed. The Indians crushed the White Sox. The Cubs, sorry. I saw Chicago in there. I'm like, it's an interleague series. Cubs and Indians is a rematch of the 2016 World Series, and the Indians came back with vengeance and took it to the Cubs there in Wrigley Field on the north side. 10-1 was the final. Jose Ramirez hit his 14th homer off of Tyler Chatwood, a 3-run shot, but it was a barrage of hits as the Indians scored 10 runs on 11 hits there in Chicago. They got a nice pitching performance from Trevor Bauer, who went 6 shutout innings, allowed 7 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The only run was allowed late in that game on a home run by Ian Happ. That was off Josh Tomlin, who's actually looks like he's been saddled to the bullpen and can't really do much there either. Washington Nationals win in a walk-off fashion last night against the Padres at home there. Jeremy Hellickson pitched nicely for the Nationals. He went 5 1/3 innings, 1 run on 5 hits, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, to give up a homer to Cordero. Franchi Cordero hit his 7th of the year. And then Lauer for the Padres pitched well just like him, just like Hellickson did, went 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 6 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts for him. He also gave up a home run to Bryce Harper, his 15th of the year, as Bryce Harper continues to rake and keep pace with the leaders in the league in home runs. But yeah, this one was won in the bottom of the 9th inning on a Michael Taylor double that scored that young 19-year-old Juan Soto and won the game there for the Nationals. In Toronto, the Blue Jays get a win over the Angels, and this one, 5-3 was the final. Jay Happ pitched nicely, went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts for Happ. Garrett Richards took the loss. He went 5 innings, allowed 1 run, 1 earned run. It was a little bit like a calamity of errors there. 1 earned run, 5 runs total, so 4 unearned runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Did give up a homer in this one. That was to Kendrys Morales, his 4th of the year, a 2-run shot in the first inning. All right, Red Sox beat the Rays 4-2 in Tampa Bay. Mookie Betts hit his 16th homer of the year. Rafael Devers added his 9th homer of the year. And this one, as Chris Sale gets his 5th win, he went 7 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run, 1 earned, 2 runs total, 4 hits, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. He also gave up a home run to Ademis, his 1st of the year in this one, and the Red Sox got the win there 4-2. Miami gets the 5-1 win over the Mets in New York. Zach Wheeler got beat up a little bit, more unearned runs. It was these errors. Jose Reyes committed 2 errors in this game that kind of looked like it cost his team a little bit there. Caleb Smith pitched very nicely as he went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts for the left-hander there in Miami. Home runs in this one, Derek Dietrich went deep hit. That was his 4th of the year. In Cincinnati, the Reds beat the Pirates 7-2. Matt Harvey gets his first win in a Reds uniform as he goes 6 innings, allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Did give up a home run to Moran in this one. Meadows also hit a home run, his 2nd of his career, and that was off of Garrett there in the 7th inning. Jameson Taillon took the loss. He went 6 innings, allowed 6 runs on 8 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, did give up a homer. And this one, that was to Scooter Gennett, his 8th. In Milwaukee, this is a rare game, especially between these two teams. Both these teams play in a hitter's ballpark, and the Brewers play at Miller Park, hitter's ballpark. Diamondbacks play at Chase Field, very much a hitter's ballpark. This game was 1-0 at Miller Park, Brewers and Diamondbacks. 1-0 was the win in a pitcher's duel. Cook and Chacin both went 5 innings. Cook allowed 1 run on 3 hits, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts, and 5 1/3 innings of work. And Chacin went 5 shutout innings. The bullpen came up behind him and backed him up with some more shutout ball, and the Brewers were able to get a nail-biting victory. In this one, the only run scored on a Domingo Santana sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Rangers get a win over the Yankees in Arlington as Cole Hammels beats Jermaine. Jermaine only lasted 3 2/3 innings, allowed 6 runs on 4 hits, 3 walks, 6 strikeouts, 2 homers allowed. And this one, those were Jerks and Profar hit his 3rd, and Guzman hit his 4th. And this one, Hammels was very good as he went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. He also gave up a couple homers. Both solo shots. Gleyber Torres hit his 7th of the year, and Miguel Andujar hit his 5th of the year. Both solo shots that didn't really seem to ding, the only kind of little dings in the armor there, as the Rangers were able to get the win there at home. The White Sox come back after dropping a game 3-2. They come back and win a game 3-2 at home against the Orioles. Got James Shields pitched nicely, went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Yes, James Shields is still pitching in Major League Baseball. It's happening, folks. He beat Gosman, who went 6 innings of shutout ball, allowed 9 hits, 1 walk, 10 strikeouts. Got the no decision in this one as the bullpen was not able to hold the 2-0 lead that the Orioles were giving him, as the White Sox scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to win this one 3-2. It was a couple of singles and a sacrifice fly that got that rally going for the White Sox. The Twins shut out the Rangers at home in Minnesota 6-0 behind an excellent pitching performance by Lance Lynn. He gets his second win of the year, lowers that ERA down a little bit, went 6 2/3 innings, no runs, 5 hits, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts for Lynn in this one. As the without a home run, the Twins were able to score six runs, a couple of doubles, and a bunch of doubles, and they get the win there. The Royals come back and beat the Cardinals after dropping the first game on Monday, 5-1 there in St. Louis. Alex Gordon hit his 4th homer of the year for the Royals. Salvador Perez added his 7th, and this one as they backed up an excellent Jason Hammel start, went 7 innings, allowed 1 run on 9 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts for Hammel as he beats Luke Weaver, who didn't pitch terribly. He went 7 innings, allowed 3 runs on 7 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, but those 2 homers dinged him pretty good. Seattle Mariners beat the A's in 10 innings in Oakland 3-2 as they scored a run in the top of the 10th inning to get the lead and get the win there. It was a Guillermo Herrera double in the top of the 10th that scored Gene Segura and got the win. The starters both pitched pretty well. Trevor Cahill went 7 innings, allowed 2 runs on 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. Dig of the homer in this one to Mike Zunino in the loss, but obviously Cahill got a no decision in this one. Mike Leake also no decision, went 6 2/3 innings, allowed 1 earned run on 6 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts for Leake. As I just want to finish off this last game in this segment here, a longer first segment, as the Dodgers beat the Rockies in LA 5-3. Had a spot start from a guy they kind of call up, Stewart. Brock Stewart came up and pitched 4 innings, allowed 2 runs on 5 hits, 1 walk, 1 strikeout to give up a homer to Ian Desmond. But the bats for the Dodgers were able to come in and get some homers off of the Colorado bullpen. Chris Taylor hit his 6th homer off of Shaw, and Puig hit his 5th also off Shaw. They got the Dodgers the win there at home. All right, longer first segment. We're going to take a quick break and come back and talk about the Astros and the NL East, Red Sox. We're going to do that all over the next 2 segments, and then, of course, we're going to preview the rest of the week in the final segment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is your ultimate stop for everything sports. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Should I say more? From the NFL, MLB, the NBA to MMA, it's all in here. The Golden State Media Concepts Sports Podcast. Listen now.
All right, welcome back. GSMC Baseball Podcast. In the second segment, just want to go over some news and stories from around the league. Obviously, we've had some nice baseball around the league, pretty much. I mean, we're obviously going to have those home runs. We got some good pitching performances now. I mean, I think we had a little bit of a lack of that starting off the season. It seemed like it was all dingers. I think pitchers just take a little bit longer to kind of find their groove. Hitters had all of spring training. They get their swings are down within the first 2 weeks of spring training. They're ready to go, and they can just go for the long ball. I mean, that's the new thing now these days, especially with that launch angle and the exit velocity. It's all about getting a high exit velocity and hitting it in the air, and that's where you're going to get your home runs from. Obviously, we're seeing guys like Gleyber Torres come up and hit 7 home runs in 5 weeks in Major League Baseball after playing minor league baseball. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, obviously, he was a very highly touted prospect. Everybody was pretty much expecting him to do that, especially because he was the number 1 prospect for the Yankees. It's funny because he was one of the guys traded over to the Yankees from the Cubs for Aroldis Chapman, and now Aroldis Chapman is back on the Yankees, and their teammates. So it's actually pretty funny like that how it ended up working out for the Yankees. But as far as the AL East and the Red Sox are concerned, they just need to keep winning. They need to keep Mookie Betts hot. Obviously, that guy is on an MVP run right now for the Red Sox. I mean, as long as Manny Machado is also up there trying to get his name in the conversation as well, because if you look at the stats coming into the season, the home run race, Betts is in first place with 16, but like I said, hot on his heels is Manny Machado, and then his own teammate JD Martinez has 15 homers on the season. Obviously, Mike Trout and the defending MVP Jose Ramirez will have something to say about that as well. But looking like Mookie Betts obviously not only hits 16 home runs, but he's also hitting 368 right now on the season. Martinez also pretty hot as he's 343. Machado is there as well. So all those guys just absolutely raking. Machado also leads the league in RBIs with 43 RBIs. Well, it's going to be interesting to see where Manny Machado goes. Is he going to, I mean, if you're the Orioles, don't you trade him this season? You're not winning. You're not going to do anything this season. You're in the cellar there in the AL East. You can get you can get a haul for Manny Machado. I mean, even if it's a rental, you don't care about that. You're looking to get a haul for Manny Machado, knowing that he's not coming back next season. He's already said he's not coming back next season. Whether Aaron Judge's efforts will deem fruitful and he'll go to the Yankees. Hopefully, I mean, people were calling for a suspension from Judge after he was apparently trying to court Manny Machado already over to come over to the Pinstripes, the guys in Pinstripes there in New York. But no, I think if anybody should be traded this season, it's him, because he's a commodity on a team that is not going anywhere this season. And he can make a team that is going to hope to go somewhere around the brink to go somewhere this season very, very good. So, and he obviously is playing a mean shortstop as well, moving over there from third base this season. So, yeah, I mean, the Orioles, they're 15 and 33 right now, 18 games back. I mean, the Toronto is in third place and they're 10 games back. So, I mean, the Yankees and Red Sox are really running away with this AL East. Like I said at the beginning of the show, whoever does not win the division is going to have to play that one-game wild card, and likely will host that one-game wild card. Yeah, Yankees right now are in second place. They have 4-game clearance in the wild card race. So, and right now Seattle is sitting in that second spot. Mariners actually playing pretty good right now. Let's talk about them for a little bit, as they've won 4 in a row. They're 28-19. I mean, they're actually in second place in the AL West, as they have leapfrogged over the Angels. Angels have fallen on a bit of hard times. They've lost 7 of the last 10, while the Mariners have won 7 of the last 10. And they're actually sitting right behind the Astros in second place in the AL West. The Angels have fallen back a little bit. They're now 4.5 back. Seattle is 2 back of the Astros, who are right up there with the same record as the Red Sox and Yankees, with everybody has 30 wins. Red Sox have 33, Yankees have 31, and so did the Astros. So as far as races go, I mean, we're getting closer to 50 games in the season. I think this is going to be going on this whole rest of the time. I think Houston's just fine at the top of their division, and as we're going to talk about the Astros, I don't think Seattle is really going to be a team that they have to worry about altogether. They match up with them really well. The Mariners, I mean, they always start off hot. Right now, what are they? 9 games over 500. How much want to bet they don't finish 9 games over 500 at the end of the year? I mean, how much? What do you think the odds are on that one? Because they when you're up there in the Pacific Northwest, that's the thing. They start off hot, and then you realize, oh, we have to take plane rides that are 2 hours to 3 hours longer on average than everybody else, because we're way the heck up here. with the closest. I think the closest team to them is it Oakland in their division? Well, the A's or Giants, whatever. There's no. I mean, if you go east, maybe the Rockies. Is that closer? I don't think so. It's got to be California, and that's still over a state away. I have to go, obviously, Oregon, and then it's Northern California, but still, they're way up there. And, everything's far. Everything's far. Imagine having to do a trip from there to Tampa Bay, and then go from Tampa Bay to New York, and then back or Tampa Bay to New York, then New York to Boston, then back to the West Coast. So, I mean, their East Coast swings can be tough. And they do have to do a couple of them, so... the Mariners, I think they usually do fade. They're obviously going to be without Robinson Cano for an extended period due to his suspension. We'll see if the pitching can hold up there. They've gotten a nice boost from James Paxton filling in. I mean, not filling in, but just kind of filling that void that Felix Hernandez has kind of left for the with this rotation as the Mariners are trying to just get back where they're trying to do something. They're trying to mix it up. Obviously, the Angels, I'm surprised. I mean, seeing the Angels, they've lost they've only won 3 of the last 10, so they're 3-7 in the last 10 games. But and they've kind of fallen back a bit as they have trouble winning at home. Look at the Angels. They're 12-17 at home, 14-5 on the road. I don't know what it is. Some of these teams is just reverse. The same thing. It's almost like looking at the Rockies. They're 7-11 at home. And 19-12 on the road is actually, there's an alert right there. The Rockies are officially now in first place in the National League West as they have leapfrogged over the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks have lost 6 in a row as they have fallen way back down to earth. Giants are 24-25, only 2 games back right now in the American League. In the National League West, as the National League West looks a little bit closer to the American League Central Division. As the first place team isn't necessarily in under 500, but it is getting close to that mark. As the Rockies are 26-23, but not quite the American League Central, where the Indians are in first place at even 500, 23-23. Yeah, so as far as these divisions go, obviously we have a lot more time to go, but I think we're kind of shaking out here, especially that American League East and that NL. That NL East I'm going to save to talk to in the next segment. But as far as the Astros go, I think they can just keep on their pace. I think they're basically going to win at least six of every 10 games. Or 7 of every 10 games, and then they'll go on a couple runs. Well, they'll win 9 out of 10 or something like that, or they'll win 8 in a row. Look at their run differential. They're plus 104. I don't think anybody's plus 50. The Cubs are plus 63. The Yankees are plus 79, plus 77, Red Sox, and then plus 104. That's crazy. That means you're pitching and you're hitting. They have outscored. They've outscored all their opponents. They're scoring more runs, obviously, than they're allowing. Plus 104. That's crazy. And then if you look at the National League Central, I think we talked about that in the last show on Monday, how crazy it is there. It's starting to shake out a little bit as the Brewers have carved out a 2.5 game lead in first place, but like that's not over yet. Pittsburgh is 3 back in fourth place, so that'll be fun to see that. As far as the American League, like I'm going to talk about in the next segment, that National League East goes, I'm kind of just waiting for the Nationals to do something, and I'm kind of waiting for the Phillies and the Braves to kind of pull a Diamondbacks and just slide right back down to earth, because I think that they're just kind of climbing this rock climb right now. They're getting all these young players. There's a reason why they're young players, because they are, I don't want to call them flash in the pans or one-hit wonders, because they're not. They're good. They're very talented players. Ozzie Albies is a very talented player. Ronald Acuna, very talented player. But adjustments are made. Film is gathered and watched. Adjustments are made. Holes are found in swings. And, things happen where you can just be like all of a sudden in a slump or like, oh, wait, why are they pitching me all of a sudden all different? Oh, because they've watched film that they finally got on you, and they're finding out that you can't hit a slider that starts at your knee or starts on the inside corner and goes down to your back foot or something like that. Or you can't hit a fastball up on your hands. So They'll find a hole in these guys, and I think that especially these young guys are going to come back down to earth. We see a lot of these hitters. I mean, we saw 2 years in a row from the Yankees, not the Yankees, the Dodgers. The Dodgers young guys, they had Corey Seager, and they had Cody Bellinger, and then even before that they had Jack Peterson, and then before that they had Yasiel Puig. So that all were just absolute showstoppers as young players. And now look at Peterson, kind of just moseying around, platoon outfielder. Same with Puig if he's healthy. I mean, yeah, he's hitting well all right now, but he's very streaky, not doing anything like he was when he first broke into the league. Because players, they make adjustments. Bellinger's having a sophomore slump. I think Corey Seager is the best one out of all of them. And I think I'm not going to be argued with much there. He's definitely the best one out of all of them, and I think people will definitely agree with that because he's shown the most. He's shown the most sustained success. Obviously, the injury this year is quite disheartening, having to sit out the whole rest of the season after that Tommy John surgery, which is, from a shortstop. I don't know whether he needs to fix his throwing motion or what have you. It's just that is too bad for a talented young player. But these young guys, I think it's a ticking clock right now, especially in this first year. You got, how long will it be until it hits midnight? How long can you be wearing the glass slipper? I'm not calling them Cinderellas. They're not. This isn't March Madness. There's no Cinderella story. These are Major League Baseball players for a reason. But right now, I think a lot of these young players are sitting in a kind of this twilight zone where, like, how long can I last in here? How long will I be able to have a sustained success? I'm not saying they're going to get sent down, they're going to go in a slump or anything, but they're on an absolute tear. Ozzie Albies, who is Ozzie Albies? Who is that? Oh, he's just a guy with 14 home runs this season. Scored all the runs last game for the Braves, and is a lead leader in a bunch of different stats. I don't know about the averages. He's not up there in the average. It's great. Odubel Herrera for the Phillies is hitting .345, leads the National League in hitting. I'll get into that in the next segment. But Albies has 14 homers in the year. He's 34 RBIs. All these different things. Second in the league in runs scored, and that's the entire major leagues with 45 runs scored. So, we'll see if he stays up. I know Acuna has kind of been a little up and down all season as well. Albies is kind of taking that spotlight for him when it was supposed to be the Acuna show all season. All right, we'll get into more stuff regarding the Braves, the Nationals, the Mets, the Phillies, everything. We'll kind of just come back and do the NL East talk. I'll probably get in some more in on the Red Sox and their pitching staff, how that's going to be really a key for them the rest of the season. So we'll do that when we come back. Stay tuned.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to GSMC Baseball Podcast on a Wednesday. I didn't even said my whole spiel at the beginning. I've been your host, Tom Dougherty, and this show has always been brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I kind of just was too excited to do the scores this morning. Thought I'd do my spiel at the beginning there. All right. The NL East. The NL East is going to be fun. I think, I mean, obviously I want, it's great for baseball to see the Braves and the Phillies this year doing what they're doing. Obviously, both of them were kind of in the depths last few years, especially the Phillies. The Braves had their whole thing with the international, their international signing guy got caught in a scandal, and they had to give up a bunch of prospects and stuff because of this, the way he was able to kind of poach these players in the international markets. But they weren't able to. They were able to retain Ozzie Albies and Ronald Acuna, and they have supplanted the Braves. I mean, not only have they've been playing well. Obviously, the whole Braves team has been playing pretty well. Obviously, they're game and a half up in first place over the Phillies. But it's been everybody. I think it's been Freddie Freeman. It's been Acuna. It's been kind of that whole team has come together. I know it's the beginning of the season, and you hate to get almost too fast to a start, because this is not a sprint at all. It's a marathon. You got to pace yourself, and I think that's why obviously you like to carve out leads. But unless you're the Yankees or the Red Sox, you got to kind of let your season go along here. They're getting production out of the young guys. They're getting production out of the old guys. I mean, it's kind of everybody right now is producing for the Braves, and we're looking at their team leaders in batting average. I mean, you got Nick Markakis hitting 340, Freddie Freeman's hitting 326 on the year. You got Albies with 14 homers, Freeman's got 9, Markakis got 6. Acuna is actually sitting down there in a lot of these stats. He's not really doing the most for this team. It's really Albies and Freeman. Freeman leading the team with 30. I mean, he's got 35 RBIs already on the season. So we'll see. I mean, Freeman's always been a reliant first baseman, but he's also been a guy who has had an injury bug. He's a guy who kind of is streaky, can go into slumps very regularly, and baseball, it's very volatile like that too. So I don't know if this thing is, it is a two-team kind of thing. I mean, they've been pitching well as well. They got a good start from McCarthy yesterday, who's been pretty up and down this whole season. As I want to go look at their pitching stats as well. They have some young, good arms. They have that lefty Newcomb, who's pitching very nicely. So if you can keep it going regarding with these young arms and the veterans with Tehran and McCarthy as well, that rotation can look pretty good. Newcomb and McCarthy both have 5 wins. Newcomb is at that 2.39 ERA is very nice for the Braves there. All right, well, I mean, I think it's going to come down to the Nationals. Honestly, these two teams can obviously pitch and hit and do everything they need to do. Obviously, when it comes to this NL East, they all kind of pitch well. They all kind of hit well. Well, which team will pop out on top? Because I mean, the Nationals have the veterans. Obviously, they call out that young prospect Soto. I don't want to call him a savior of any sorts, because I mean, they have their lineup already is pretty tight. When you got a Harper and you got Rendon, you got who else? What they got? Ryan Zimmerman's hitting well. So everybody's kind of hitting together. They just need to kind of figure it all out and string some wins together. They start obviously getting off to a slow start to the season isn't helpful, but I think that it's going to be something that they need to start getting going. Obviously, still waiting for Daniel Murphy also to come back off the disabled list. There's been reports on him saying that he had some injury. He was he did have the knee injury he's returning from, but right now that rehab is slowed down due to some illness he's had to deal with. He's sick, so hasn't been able to rehab that knee correctly. So maybe there's lots of different factors for these Nationals. But when you have a Scherzer, a Strasburg, a Gio Gonzalez, Tanner Roark is a very serviceable fourth starter, and Jeremy Hellickson at the bottom there, you should be able to do some stuff. You should be able to compete with the Phillies. Maybe it's the fact that they're just the young, spry team, and right now they're just a tough out. I know my Giants went in there and got absolutely demolished by the Phillies after. We swept the Braves, thinking like, oh great, we're going to come into this road trip and just wreck stuff. We're going to get on a roll. We sweep the Braves and go and just get pounded by the Phillies, because the Phillies, they have some bats in that lineup that you might think are quote-unquote no names, like Aaron Altier, or I mean even Odubel Herrera a little bit to people who don't really pay attention that much. They're going to be big names. They're going to be names coming up here soon. And they have guys, Cesar Hernandez. I mean, they've got guys hitting all over the place. Obviously, the acquisition of Carlos Santana from the Indians was a huge pickup for the Phillies, as he's been very productive, especially in that Giants series, which is the one I was really able to watch closely. Carlos Santana seemed to be the killer every day for that Phillies team that series. But I mean, as far as the Phillies go, they kind of get hot, they stay hot, then they kind of come back down and they get hot again. I mean, they're 6-4 in the last 10, so right now kind of just meddling along here. They did drop that last game against the Braves, as that's going to be pretty interesting to see. Obviously, this is a big game. The thing is, all these the baseball, it's one and 162. You just move on. You know, it doesn't matter if you lose one game. No, it doesn't necessarily. But when you're playing against a team that's directly above you in the standings, yeah, it does matter. Even when it's May, even when it's the end of May, we're going to get into summertime. The games are going to get longer. The days are going to get longer. It's going to be the dog days of August before you know it. And that game in May that you beat against the Braves might come around and, we won the division by 1 game. There we go. Or we won the division by 2 games. There we go. It really did come down to those 2 games. I mean, it could have been, you can pick them out anywhere you want. So I know the Phillies and Braves do play today, and I'll be previewing that game in the next segment as well. So, yeah, that's a big series. Obviously, they split the first 2 games and have kind of been idle. So that's why I don't know. It's not wild we have a 3-game series, but the fact that they split these, this is going to be the rubber match coming up today, is going to be fun. And then it looks like the Braves are going to have an off day tomorrow and then play the Red Sox on Friday. So that'll be a fun one to talk about on Friday, as well as the Braves and the Red Sox will start a series over the weekend. That'll be a test. There's always a test, because the Red Sox are a team that is built to go to the World Series. The Braves are a team that was built to try and contend this year, or maybe a year or 2 away. Just like the Phillies probably too. Phillies were I think the Phillies are a little closer. I mean, they get Arrieta, having a little more of those. The starters are a little more. I don't know. I don't want to say they're more performed or they're more groomed, because it's pretty even. I mean, you got Mike Voltynevich and Tehran. And McCarthy for the for the Braves, that is, Braves. And the Phillies, Phillies have nice Aaron Nola, but he's younger. I wouldn't call him, quote-unquote, a veteran yet. Really, the only veteran pitcher for the Phillies is Jake Arrieta, and that's really it right now. I mean, they got they have another couple of young guys in Pivetta and in Aaron Nola, and then also Vince Velasquez too. So, I mean, that's 4 of their 5 or 2. Who's their 5th guy in the rotation? I can figure that out. Obviously, Velasquez pitched yesterday, and Pivetta pitched on Monday. So, we'll see who they have. We'll do that. We'll talk about that in the next segment. What their pitchers are going to be coming up for the next 2 games. But it's all young arms, and it's all guys that are going to have to kind of just keep this sustained success going throughout the season. It's a long season, and I would not be surprised if I see both these teams just kind of tick down closer to 500 throughout the rest of the season. I mean, looking at the schedule for the Braves, obviously they go play a tough series in Boston coming up this weekend, but then they got the Mets at home, the Nationals at home, and they go out for a little West Coast swing to San Diego and LA. So I mean, that's a long trip there. Could get caught up. Padres have a tendency to kind of beat the good teams and play well, and then they come back for the Mets at home again, Padres at home, Blue Jays and Orioles. So I mean, the end of that month isn't that great, as they do have a nice little home. They have a nice little homestand where they play the Orioles and the Reds in 2-3-game series right there at the end of June. So I mean, they could be sitting right where they are now, or even leapfrog the Phillies by the end of the month. To see how they do against the Red Sox, obviously, and then go back and look at the Phillies' schedule for the rest of this month, and looking into June as well. And so it's kind of look at the outlook. I mean, you could look at, definitely everybody has soft spots in their schedule. Everybody has tough spots in their schedule. The Nationals had a few tough spots in the beginning of the year, so that means they're probably going to even out a little bit throughout the season. So I mean, like the Phillies They're going to host the Blue Jays this weekend before they go out on a trip to L.A. and San Francisco, and then the Cubs. So, and then looking into June, they got some tough teams. They're going to play the Brewers. They're going to play the Rockies. They're going to play the Cardinals, the Nationals, the Yankees, Nationals. So yeah, I mean the Phillies have a test. June is going to be a test for them. They're playing against every single team they're playing in June right now, except for the Giants, are over 500. The Giants are one game under. The Cubs are over. The Brewers are over. The Red Sox, Rockies, Cardinals, Yankees, and Nationals are all over 500. And the Giants are only one game away. They could be over 500 by the time they play them. So, the Phillies are going to have a test come June, and we'll see how they come out of it there. I would not be surprised if they go what is that, 20, 25 games? They have 3 off days in that one, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go 10-15 or something like that. Or and then end up losing 5 games in there, and what are they, 15 or 7 games over 500 right now. So Phillies. And in the Nationals, I think that they are still, I wouldn't call them favorites necessarily, but they are still, I think, front runners. They're not, even though they're not front running right now. That's kind of a weird choice of words. So maybe I'll go back to the first word. I said I still say they're favorites to maybe to leapfrog those 2 teams, the younger teams, as they're just the more. I think there's the more evenly keeled and veteran team. You got Bryce Harper, Rondon, like I was talking about, Michael A. Taylor making plays. You bring up the young guy, you get some nice mix of young and old. I mean, that's what we're seeing from the Yankees now. They got a nice mix of young and old there, and they're playing really well. Same thing with the Red Sox. So we're going to wrap it up for this segment, and we're going to come back with the next segment and go over the games coming up for the rest of this week, or up until Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday, and then we'll do Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Friday when we come back with another episode of the GSMC Baseball Podcast. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Want to know the latest in soccer? Then listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast. From MLS, the World Cup, and the Premier League, we've got you covered. The latest updates, the hottest matches, and news on the league's top players. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Soccer Podcast.
David Beckham scores the goal to take England all the way to the World Cup finals.
Listen now.
Welcome back, GSMC Baseball Podcast, as we are going to preview the games for Wednesday and Thursday. Full slate of games today on a Wednesday, as we are going to dive right in, as we're going to finish out these good series over the week. I know some of them are going to, this is the one kind of transition week, as everybody's going to be playing the same series they've been playing. Some will finish them off, some will continue on Thursday, and some, like I said, some teams will have a 4-game weekend series start tomorrow. Some will have a day off tomorrow and then start a series on Friday. All right. First off, in Houston, it'll be Justin Verlander against Jeff Samardzija. Samardzija has not really found his way. Still kind of in that spring training mode. Remember, he had to cut his spring training short and then had to start the season on the DL. So with that pectoral strain and some shoulder issues as well. So he's had one pretty good start and 2 pretty bad starts, as he's at 1-2 with a 6.30 ERA, 23 strikeouts, but has had good success against the Astros. He's 6-3 with a 3.51 ERA in 22 starts against them. For Justin Verlander, he's 5-2 with a 1.05 ERA, 84 strikeouts. He's been absolutely excellent this season. I don't know where he went last year, obviously, we found him in the World Series, got his ring when he was traded. But before that, I mean, he was just kind of puttering around there, and Detroit had some injury stuff. Now he's back and pitching just like he was, 5 years ago when he was an MVP Cy Young. I mean, this guy has been at the top of the hill, and he's back on it again right now, as he, I think, is at least close to a lead in ERA. In Milwaukee, it'll be the Diamondbacks and the Brewers going again. Zach Godley against Brent Suter, a left-hander for the Brewers. Suter is 3-3 with a 4.72 ERA, 36 strikeouts. Godley 4-3 with a 3.78 ERA, 49 strikeouts for the right-hander with a good curveball there in Arizona. But the Diamondbacks, they're reeling right now. They've lost 6 straight, and they are trying to avoid, I think, a sweep of this series in Milwaukee. The Twins and the Tigers in Minnesota. Michael Fulmer against Kyle Gibson, 2 right-handers, both looking for their second win of the year. Fulmer 1-3 with a 4.35 ERA, 46 strikeouts. Gibson 1-2 with a 3.96 ERA, 55 strikeouts. Interesting to look at the combined stats of these AL Central teams. I mean, I feel like every time I read these, especially when they have a tilt like this, when you have 2 teams from the same division playing each other out of the AL Central, their stats don't look very good for any of these teams in the Central. I mean, these starters, they're not pitching. It's just not good. So, I mean, here's the next one. Well, Jacob June has actually been pitching pretty well for the Royals. Royals and Cardinals in St. Louis as they finish off this interstate series in St. Louis at Busch Stadium. June is 5-3 with a 3.51 ERA, 48 strikeouts. Has been pitching nicely for the Cardinals. This is the I-70 series, they call it, as that's the freeway going through the middle of Missouri. For the Cardinals, it'll be Michael Wacha, who is 5-1 with a 3.08 ERA, 44 strikeouts. Both these guys looking for their 6th win on the year, as they've been both pitching very nicely. It'll be a good game there in St. Louis at early start. Probably get started right when I post this show up. Tyson Ross against the Nationals have not announced a starter for today's game, which is quite interesting. The Nationals and the Padres there in Washington. This is a game that's going to start at 1:05 Pacific time, 4 o'clock Eastern. So, I mean, we'll see who the Nationals hand the ball to, as the manager, Rick Martinez there will probably pick a spot starter. Will probably be a guy coming up from the minor leagues. They're still dealing with some injury stuff there in Washington. Also had to deal with a doubleheader they had to play on Saturday. In Philadelphia, the Braves and the Phillies, it'll be Luis Quijada for the Braves, a guy who was in the bullpen for a little bit, is going to make his first start of the season, and he's definitely one of the top pitching prospects. He's in his appearances this season on the bullpen. He's got a 1.29 ERA with 5 strikeouts, so got some good stuff. Got his fastball around 95. Got his swing and miss slider, and he'll be facing a guy who's been making a lot of money off those 2 pitches, a swing and miss slider and a good fastball. That's Jake Arrieta. He's 3-2 with a 2.82 ERA, 28 strikeouts for his first season in a Phillies uniform, and he'll be going against the young left-hander. For the Braves in Texas, Arlington, Doug Fister, CC Sabathia, Rangers, and Yankees. Sabathia 2-1 with a 2.40 ERA and 33 strikeouts, as he will be going against Doug Fister 1-4 with a 3.43 ERA, 33 strikeouts. In Toronto, Angels and Blue Jays, Tyler Skaggs going up against Aaron Sanchez. Skaggs, the lefty, is 3-3 with a 2.88 ERA, 53 strikeouts. Nice little start to the season for him. Sanchez is 2-4 with a 4.47 ERA, 40 strikeouts, as he'll be going in this one tonight at home in Boston, or make that in Tampa Bay. The Red Sox and Rays at Tropicana Field. David Price against Chris Archer, a great pitching matchup against 2 guys who can be kind of up and down. They can be kind of shaky. We'll see which Price we'll get. We'll see which Archer we get. Price is 4-4 with a 4.38 ERA, 46 strikeouts. Archer 3-3 with a 5.01 ERA and 57 strikeouts. In New York, Marlins and Mets, it'll be Dan Straley going against Jacob deGrom. Both guys have yet to have been saddled with a loss. They've won every decision they've gotten. Straley's 2-0 with a 3.60 ERA, 14 strikeouts in his starts, and Jacob deGrom 4-0 with a 1.75 ERA, 69 strikeouts for the Mets ace right-hander. They have 2 of them at Syndergaard as well, obviously. In Cincinnati, Chad Kuhl, we're going against Homer Bailey. Bailey 1-6 with a 6.11 ERA, 32 strikeouts, as he is not pitching that well. Has had some sparkles of good performance around, but not all that much. and then cool 4-2 with a 4.53 ERA. In Chicago, Cubs and Indians, it'll be Adam Plutko against John Lester. Plutko 1-0 with a 3.68 ERA, as he will be called up again to make his second MLB start, as that was his first start. Obviously got a win there in his first start, as he made pitch well against the Blue Jays, went 7 1/3 innings, allowed 3 runs. Lester 4-1 with a 2.53 ERA, 44 strikeouts, as we complete this series, the rematch series. In Chicago, White Sox and Orioles will be Alex Cobb against Dan Covey. In the A's, it'll be Marco Gonzalez against Daniel Gossett. And then in LA, it'll be the Rockies and the Dodgers going. And it'll be Kyle Freeland against Kenta Maeda for the Dodgers. And then on Thursday, a smaller slate of games, 8 games on a Thursday, as we have a bunch of teams taking days off. It'll be Ivan Nova against Luis Castillo, the promising young right-hander for the Reds, as the Pirates and the Reds will get a series going. And we'll finish off that series. It's a 4-game series there, as they will finish off this one. It's getaway day at 9:35 Pacific time start there in Pittsburgh and in Cincinnati, as that will be a day baseball there for the Reds and the Pirates. Nova and Castillo, as Castillo is 3-4 with a 5.61 ERA, 50 strikeouts, has made it 5 innings on his last. Did make it 5 innings his last start. Allowed 1 run on 6 hits. Didn't get a decision though. Toronto, it'll be the Angels and the Blue Jays, as they will finish off that series as well. It'll be Nick Tropiano against Marco Estrada. In Baltimore, White Sox and Orioles early start as well. In this one, Dylan Bundy against Lucas Giolito, 2 young right-handers for this one, as Dylan Bundy's still trying to right the ship, and he's supposed to be this ace of this Orioles rotation. Hasn't really found it this year. Did give up 3 home runs to the Red Sox on Saturday. In Oakland, Mariners and A's, Felix Fernandez against, we'll see, basically, for the A's, as they have yet to figure out their rotation. A great series going in Cleveland, as the Astros, they just faced the Indians, I think, a couple weeks ago, or last week, I think, actually, in Houston. And the Astros are going to go to Cleveland. Mike Clevenger will get another start against the Astros, who have not announced a starter for tomorrow, likely having to call somebody up as their rotation is in flux. In Tampa Bay, the Red Sox and the Rays will be going again, as there'll be Rick Porcello against Blake Snell in this one, as Porcello 6-1 with a 3.39 ERA, 63 strikeouts to Snell, 5-3 with a 3.07 ERA, as both guys have been pitching pretty well. They're both at kind of the top of the rotation right now. Obviously, the Red Sox have Chris Sale as well. If the thing about the Red Sox is if they get to the postseason and all their pitchers, their top 3 guys are on, they got Price, Sale, and Porcello, and you only need 3 pitchers in the playoffs. So they need to basically just get there and have all those guys going, and they could be just fine. Their bullpen will figure themselves out. Obviously, Craig Kimbrell is a little up and down sometimes, but they'll figure. I think they'll get it figured out. I'm not really worried about the Red Sox right now at all. In Texas, Royals and Rangers will get a series started. Danny Duffy is yet to figure out who he will be facing tomorrow, as the Rangers have yet to announce a starter for tomorrow's game. But Danny Duffy is 1-6 with a 6.88 ERA, 45 strikeouts, as he looks to get back on track. Unfortunately, at a hitter's ballpark with a good hitting team in the Rangers. And then in Milwaukee, Mets and Brewers will get a series started. Steven Matz, the left-hander, against Zach Davies, the right-hander, pair of two young arms. Both guys have yet to kind of find their groove. They've both been up and down, as inconsistency has been Matz's issue. He's only delivered a quality start once in 8 tries, but he's 1-3 with a 4.42 ERA, 36 strikeouts, and Davies 2-3 with a 4.24 ERA and 25 strikeouts. All right, we're gonna get it going. We'll watch some baseball. Obviously, today we have a few day games. Tomorrow we have a few day games. As it's getaway day. The next 2 days for a bunch of teams. The early days today, as we Giants, Diamondbacks, and the games over in the Midwest will all get started as well at around 10 o'clock Pacific time. So you can listen to me, mute the game, and listen to the show. There you go. I mean, you've already been listening to the show if you talk about it right now. But you should do that every day, right? Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, we are here with the GSMC Baseball Show. As I am pretty much kind of doing the same thing every day as we do the recap of the games from the previous 2 days, do some talk on what's going around in the league, look at the standings, speculate, look at some teams and their schedules upcoming. Like today, we talked about the Phillies and the Braves, especially in the AL East, talking about where if they're gonna stumble at all during the season. And the Phillies, the Braves, their schedule isn't really that tough. Looking over the next month, the Phillies though, their schedule is going to get really hard. Like I said, in June they don't play a team that is under 500. I mean, if the Giants win 2 games, they'll be over 500, and they're the only team that's like anywhere near 500 or is hovering around 500. Everybody else, I mean, I think they play the Rockies, the Nationals. I think they played a bunch of teams who are over 500 as well. So, I mean, looking at their schedule, it's going to be tough sledding in June as, they play the Brewers, Rockies, Nationals, Cardinals, Yankees, Nationals again. They play the Nationals in back-to-back weekends, one on the road, one at home. And also play the Brewers, the same kind of thing, back-to-back weekends, one on the road, one at home. So we've seen a lot of those two teams, a lot of good bats, a lot of good pitching, and teams that are in the top of the the Nationals obviously are sitting behind. The Phillies are ahead of the Nationals. They'll be a big month. We'll see where the Nationals are after June. But I'll be there to take you all along the way, as we'll be highlighting all those games as they happen and previewing them before they happen too. So be sure to tune in to the shows as we will be taking you through the summer and baseball. As we're kind of getting into summer now. I would say we're in summer now, but it's still kind of overcast sometimes outside. I like summer when it gets hot, especially over here, and we get some good summer baseball. So everybody have a good rest, good middle of your week. It is Wednesday, hump day here, and we'll be back on Friday to start off your weekend and recap the week in baseball. So see you on Friday, everybody. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Baseball Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.